Track maintenance crew out there on the inner track sealing it up. In fact, the forecast for Saturday does not look too promising. Day-long wet weather predicted for the Big Apple. We hope that isn't the case, but we will be running 10 races tomorrow, kicking things off at 1:20 p.m. And we're off and running here 6 p.m. on MSG+. It's the MIG, Richard Migliore, Jason Blewett. Glad you've stopped by to join us for the fastest half hour in all of thoroughbred racing.
It always feels like a sprint. Every night this show goes so quickly. But I'm not going to complain about rain. After all the snow we've had all winter, I think we'll deal with a little bit of rain, because I think we're out of the woods. It's starting to feel like we're creeping towards official spring.
Right. Tomorrow brings it 3 weeks out from the TwinSpires.com Wood Memorial. And regarding Saturday, we don't want to rush a Saturday here at the Big A. Keep in mind, 7:30 p.m. is post time for the Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider right here on MSG+. If you're playing around with TiVo or the DVR, just keep that in mind. And the Big and I will catch up with all of you tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow early evening at 7:30 p.m. But let's get to the headlines. 3 Grade 1 caliber talents fill up the Friday headlines as we talk about California Chrome, who readied for Dubai this morning out at Los Al.
Yeah, and I got to speak with Alan Sherman earlier today on the telephone, and he said that California Chrome is working sensationally. They like the way he's coming into the Dubai World Cup, better than the San Antonio, training more of a purpose, kind of got a little more zip in his workouts, and he's a horse that possesses speed. You don't want to dull that speed. Let them use that speed. And he says he's excited about going to Dubai, but he'll see how excited he is depending on how California Chrome does.
I guess we'll wait till March 28th when the dust settles for $10 million at Maydon to hear how that trip has gone for Art Sherman and the crew. But good to have the California Chrome, the horse of the year, obviously, from 2014, gunning for that top prize. And he'll actually leave on a plane bound for Dubai this coming Tuesday, and I think a positive getting some time to acclimate to the desert.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll get there. Actually, Alan's leaving Monday, so he'll ready his stall and have everything set for California Chrome's arrival a day later. But I'm sure, you know, they've discussed it with Bob Baffert and trainers out in California who have done this trip. And just the best way to do it, get horses there, get them acclimated, get them ready.
Here's our New York bred, one of the best running upstart, who we hope to see in the TwinSpires.com Wood Memorial. That might stand currently as Plan B, but regardless, he stretched his legs. A nice breeze this morning at Palm Meadows in 13-2.
Yeah, Rick Violet was ecstatic over this work. Spoke with him earlier on the telephone. Said he went 49-1, came home in essentially 24 seconds, galloped out really well. Said he got a good blow out of it, needed it, but cooled out really well. And he's very, very happy with how he's doing. And what he said was that there's nothing to tinker with. He doesn't have to fix anything. The horse just steadily continues to do well, and he's pointing for the Florida Derby with the Wood Memorial as a backup if he's not happy with the racetrack.
Nice to have a couple of options. We'll see what the story is with Upstart going forward throughout the month of March. And for Take Charge Brandy, last year's 2-year-old champion filly for Hall of Fame trainer D. Wayne Lucas, she had a pin inserted into her right knee to accelerate healing. She's out root and riddle, and in a few days she'll be back with D. Wayne String at Oaklawn Park.
Guess Wayne doesn't want to let her get too far away. It was interesting, her last start at Oaklawn. I didn't think she looked as fluid, as smooth during the running, and then it came up that she does have a small problem. Fortunate, they caught it early, something that shouldn't be certainly career-ending, but hopefully she doesn't lose a step. You know, Wayne's not going to let her get too far away from the racetrack. It says 60 days she'll be back in training. Could be a bit optimistic.
Well, here's an Aqueduct Insider salute and a get well soon from us here on the show to Take Charge Brandy, an iron filly throughout 2014, and we hope to have her back at the races sometime soon. Now, for today's card, it was a Friday. The sun was out. We got up around 40 degrees, and no matter what time of the year, it's always nice ringing in a new card with a group of 3-year-old maidens. That was the story for the first. They are well on their way up the backstretch as we send it up to Travis Stone.
Hawk is down toward the rail, racing in fourth as those first 3 speed on with it. Farther back in the field, Call Daddy comes away in fifth, about 4 lengths off the lead. First Spark is at the back with Pollard Secret. Half mile to go. Fortuitous Path going head-to-head with Madrus. The first quarter in 23 seconds flat. Tiz for Daddy is chasing on the outside, 3 wide from third. Call Daddy started to make some progress, revving up there on the outside. And toward the rail, it's Native Hawk working out a great trip so far. In some traffic, though, is going to need to find a way out with a quarter mile to go. First Spark is under the whip and saving ground, 4 lengths behind them. So the field is the top of the stretch, and here comes Madrus. Madrus on the outside to put those white blinkers in front. Fortuitous Path battles on toward the rail, and First Spark has popped outside. And here comes First Spark now to take charge. Native Hawk is finishing well, too. Madrus is now third. 16th to go. And it is First Spark with Native Hawk fighting to the wire. But First Spark and a heads-up ride from Kendrick Carmouche. Winners of the opener. Native Hawk was second. Madrus was third. And Tiz for Daddy fourth.
As far as career debuts go, this was a race the 7 First Spark, who didn't take much money first time out for the Pletcher barn, did just about everything right. A very seasoned effort.
He did everything right. He took kickback. He came up the inside. He split horses. And I don't think you're going to see a better inner track ride than Kendrick Carmouche delivered here. From the outside post to drop over, save every inch of ground, Kendrick Carmouche is making a really, really nice impression here. And a guy, I think, depending on what he wants to do, fits in nicely year-round with the jockey colony in New York.
He's basically, at this point, riding first call for Mike Rapoli's horses, whether those Rapoli horses are trained by Todd Pletcher or Bruce Levine. And this is something you've talked about quite a bit of late with Kendrick on this circuit. He's riding for winners, he's winning races, and that's clearly only helping his cause going forward.
Oh, absolutely. Success breeds success in this game. When you're starting to ride for the right people, it catches other people's attention. And then when you put on rides like this, you're going to gain even more attention. I think this was as good a ride as you're going to see. I don't know that anybody could ride the inner track any better.
Nope, son of the late, great Indian Charlie out of Dinah Former for Todd Pletcher, shipping up from Palm Beach Downs, where that horse had actually spent the bulk of the winter training for its career debut. As we get on to race number 3, the first was the action at 1:20. Let's fast forward about an hour into this sunny Friday card as we go back to Travis Stone.
The last has recovered well and is out looking for that lead. Girl About Town is away well, too, and check up from Z-Neck up on the far outside, racing up as well. So into the clubhouse turn they go, Full of Sugar down inside, with check up from Z-Neck up back into second. Full of Sugar now opens up to lead by 3 lengths. And then it's Girl About Town, who settles into third outside of, say, 3 Hail Marys, who's fourth and toward the rail. Another margin of 3 back to Dragonberry, who's already 9 or 10 lengths behind. JC's American Dream is at the back of the pack. 23 and 4 was the quarter. So heading down the backstretch run. Full of Sugar with that early lead. It's dwindling, though, as they try and slow down the pace just a bit. That allows for check up from Z-Neck up and Girl About Town both to come right back into the race. And so now these 3 are across the track with a half mile to go. Say 3 Hail Marys is in behind, racing fourth by 5. The whip is already out on Dragonberry toward the inside. JC's American Dream alongside of that one. Those two still at the back of the pack together. 3 furlongs to go. Full of Sugar still in front. Girl About Town continues to pester, though, on the outside. And these two will come to the quarter pole together. Say 3 Hail Marys has moved into third. Check up from Z-Neck up has tailed out into fourth. Dragonberry really has to get going, is last off the turn. Top of the stretch now. Full of Sugar down inside. Gives it up to Girl About Town. Say 3 Hail Marys on the far outside is third and trying to close. Check up from Z-Neck up, Dragonberry, and JC's American Dream heading for the final 16th. Girl About Town is still the leader. Full of Sugar, say 3 Hail Marys. Dragonberry's coming with a late bid. Dragonberry, and so too check up from Z-Neck up down to the wire. Girl About Town's going to get there. A tired winner at that, and ended up tight for second between check up.
Well, let's pick up the race on the far turn as we have Girl About Town, Broman Silks, the green and the white in the clear, 3 wide, getting an early run, that is, without any cover, right outside the 5. Check up from Z-Neck up, and the number 3, Full of Sugar.
Yeah, and she was the best horse. Make no mistake about it. Girl About Town shipping up from Gulfstream for Michael Hushin and Chester Mary Broman. But it's a pet peeve of mine, and you know I don't think anybody's riding any better than Junior Alvarado consistently every day. I just don't understand sometimes when a horse is in front why you would take so much hold to back him up into the field. I think you kind of got to let horses stay in their natural rhythm. Make horses work to get to you as opposed to getting there and engaging you early.
Now at crunch time and passing the 8-pole, Full of Sugar clearly had nothing left, and maybe she's just better on a wet track because her maiden win over a sloppy track back in January was pretty good. But a good effort, any way you slice it, from this homebred filly by AP Indy, a New York bred by the great AP Indy, who just didn't like things down at Gulfstream Park. We talked about her last night. She might just be a New Yorker at heart, and I guess that's the case with her inner track debut, a victory.
Well, she is a New York bred, so of course she's got a little favor to our home state, no doubt. And again, getting back briefly to what we showed, it's more of just a tool for people to look for something in races. I just think horses are better hitting a rhythm and staying in that rhythm as opposed to getting in their way and slowing them down. I agree. I think that Full of Sugar came up completely dead empty, and It probably didn't have any effect on the outcome of this race, but I was always a guy, I'd rather make you work to get to me than come back to you.
Well, we'll see a couple of speedsters, in fact, throw down early in our co-featured 8th race. You want to talk about some razor-sharp New York breds, the gray Benny the Bull against NF's Destiny when we come back. "50 days out from the Kentucky Derby, that makes the 147th Belmont Stakes. I guess more or less 85 days out. It will be here before you know it. 3 days, 17 stakes, $10 million on the line. Tickets on sale now. Grandstand and clubhouse reserved at BelmontStakes.com. We'll be over at Belmont Park before you know it. And get those tickets. It's Jason Blewett, the MIG, Richard Migliore alongside, and nothing like Belmont Stakes Day over at the Taj Mahal.
And not just the third jewel of the Triple Crown, and potentially, hopefully, we have a horse going for that elusive Triple Crown, but just a major day of racing on every level, a Breeders' Cup type day, Grade 1s galore, with every single division covered.
Including the $1.5 million Metropolitan Handicap, as while we switch gears and get on to race number 8, there's a Met Mile winning stallion in the mix. How about the Great Holy Bull, Horse of the Year back in 1994? He is the sire of the gray Billy the Bull, who's got NF's Destiny to his outside to contend with early as we go back to Travis Stone.
Billy the Bull. Billy the Bull racing up the rail to take the lead. NF's Destiny is away second on the outside. Escape to the Moon toward the rail is now third. Curious Cal advancing up from fourth. Layla's Jazz is right there in the thick of things in fifth with Smoke'em's Charm on the outside in sixth by 3. And then it's Jeter buried down toward the rail, trying to angle a bit off the rail to the far turn run. Joe Mooch advancing second to last. And Frisky Warrior is at the back as the field hits the far turn. Solid first quarter in 23 seconds flat, 3 furlongs to go. Billy the Bull's in front of NF's Destiny, who's honing in now. NF's Destiny coming up second on the outside, 2 lengths back. Curious Cal coming under a drive third. So the field, that's the top of the stretch, and here comes NF's Destiny to put a nose in front off the turn, but Curious Cal is coming. Here comes Curious Cal on the outside to take over the lead with a furlong to go. Curious Cal in front. NF's Destiny tries to battle on toward the inside, half length behind, but it is Curious Cal the leader. NF's Destiny is second, long way back to the rest. Here's the wire. Curious Cal, the winner on the line. NF's Destiny was second.
Farther 3 wide, attacking the pace. White Cap, Curious Cal was stepping up in class. It didn't matter. Took down a good field MIG for the white-hot Charlton Baker.
And I think it was all about trips here. He's a horse with speed, Curious Cal, that was able to rate and find that comfortable position. And the 2 main speeds, Billy the Bull and NF's Destiny, eventually kind of did each other in, although NF's Destiny really hung on very gamely.
And they beat the rest, the top 2, by a 16th of a mile. A good effort in defeat for NF's Destiny, who runs consistently between 40 and 20,000 and just brings it every single time. He's a real likable game horse. But how about a little love here for Charlton Baker, who, going back to Sunday, we've only had 3 racing cards. He won Sunday's 8th with Street Lord, he won yesterday's 8th with Make the Moment, and he won today's 8th with Curious Cal.
And then tomorrow, he may not want to win the 8th. He wants to win the 4th, as he's got a horse in the correction, which is the feature tomorrow. But Charlton Baker seems to be able to win with all kinds of horses, from Finger Lakes to Broadway. He's good.
And we go back to a winner upstairs in the booth. It is Travis Stone who will take us through the calls of 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 as we hit the inner track on this Friday card.
9 lengths in front off the turn. Petroselli's been chasing but has given up second to Hurry Up Allen now, who's moved into second and is trying to close in on the pace setting Good to Look, who's getting a bit tired at the 8th pole. Farther back, Call for the Clock and Saturday Appeal. So heading for the final 16th. Good to Look's lead has dwindled down to 4. Hurry Up Allen is plugging away but is running at a racetrack and is not going to get there. Good to Look, sharp today. 2 lengths on the wire. Hurry Up Allen was second. Farther back, Call for the Clock was third. It's tight for 4th, Futurazzo or Petroselli. Price after a half and 47-1 in a 6-length lead. Turning into the stretch. The whip is out, though, on Andrews Got Zip. Zabayon has moved into second, and Full of Mine has taken over third. 1 furlong left. Andrew's Got Zip is exhausted. Here's Zabayon on the outside to take over the lead. Full of Mine is closing too, and Greg's four-wheeler on the far outside, but they're racing down to the wire, and Zabayon the winner at 41 to 1. Quarter mile to go. So it is Perfect Disco first off the turn with a 2-length lead. Unrepenting, Bayesian Summer, Kid Blast, Sidearm, far outside, those four coming after Perfect Disco, who's holding on to a 2-length lead with a furlong to go. Meanwhile, from the back of the pack, Pete's Fleet is gaining ground quickly toward the rail, heading for the final 16th, and it is Perfect Disco still there by 2. Far outside, thanks to my uncle, good finish, but Perfect Disco goes from start to finish. Thanks to my uncles. Farther back and forth is the field. It's the top of the stretch, and it is Damage Control who kicks away to a 3-length lead off the turn. Damage Control heading for the final furlong now. Beyond the Green has moved into second. Sabonic, no answer late. Then it's McQuaid toward the inside, but they're all chasing Damage Control, who won this race at the start and is going to sail home a 5-length winner going coast to coast. Damage Control first. Beyond the Green second. McQuaid third. Sabonic managed fourth. To strike in behind. Psychology cuts the corner off the turn. Cement Job is struggling. The whip is out there as the field is the top of the stretch. Rock Hard Energy is still in front. Here comes Psychology, and I got the Disco in me. Those two come up on through. It is Psychology down inside with a 2-length lead. Mark My Style with a flying finish up the rail. I got the Disco in me, and then Humboldt Street down to the wire. Psychology with a 2-length lead. Psychology. Manny Franco, good race right there to win it by 2. I got the Disc when we Mark My Style on Humboldt Street. Coach trying to muster up a rally. Bet You Can't Find Me comes very wide off the turn as the field turns for home. Discreet Force is still up top. Darling Bridezilla has been trying to get by the entire way, but is now 2.5 lengths behind in second. Farther back, it's Subsa, Midnight, and Positano. On the outside, Bet You Can't Find Me, and everybody else. Final 16th, Discreet Force, Darling Bridezilla's Game. Still second, though, as they come to the wire, and it will be Discreet Force. 1.5 lengths in the end. Darling Bridezilla, Subsa, 3-way photo for fourth. Precious Franca, Bet You Can't Find Me.
17,000 plus the Pick 6 carryover into Saturday's car to get a 10-race program we hope won't be run amid the rain showers over a sloppy track. We'll kick things off maybe at 120. But the reason we have that Pick 6 carryover, race number 4, Zabayon. Let's get you back to Bond. Jimmy Bond getting the money off the far turn with Zabayon getting the money with a wide late run.
Yeah, I mean, this horse really put in a nice kick, and I was a little surprised. I mean, the first 2 races weren't that bad. Was it just that they were maiden claiming events, and now they were stepping up to the maiden allowance level, Jason? Because, I mean, I thought his first 2 races were credible, and this horse certainly put in a nice late run and with a well-timed ride under Angel Arroyo.
Angel Arroyo wound up winning 2 races today. 4-year-old Gelding by Raffy's Majesty, well clear. Favorites were complete no-shows in a gapped-out field and a big super payout in race number 4. A bit later in the afternoon, and split divisions for the New York bred 3-and-up maidens. You had Olders running against 3-year-olds, and we'll check out what happened in group number 2 with Damage Control, who got a terrific ride from Angel Arroyo, who swept both these divisions, and he did it, Mig, from post 10 going a mile, wiring the field.
And didn't play around. Let's take no prisoners. I got a bad draw. Let me play this hand the best I can, and that's to clear, get over. This horse showed a lot of ability last time, stretching out, and interestingly enough, I thought was taking too much hold of last time when he was on the lead, allowed other horses back into the race. He seemed like the light really went on with that effort because he was involved in the race, and he finished the deal. Good to see the Bromans with a couple of winners today, and John Kimmel, even though he's down in Florida, getting it done up here.
And he's got a Yes It's True filly. You will hear, I guarantee it, more from our race analysts a bit later in the show for the Saturday preview. But what about the jockey standings? Para Riders, in fact, won a couple races today. We talked about Angels taking both the divisions for the state-bred maidens, but I'll tell you, Jeremy Rose picked up a pair as well.
Yeah, Jeremy Rose picked up a couple of winners for the red-hot Gary Gully was on one of those. But Jose Ortiz, Irad Ortiz, they're kind of in command of the situation. Maybe a little bit of sibling rivalry going on.
And what a ride from Manny Franco, skimming the rail with the horse that took a jump there in the final 16, taking race number 7 for Bob Barbera, who all of a sudden has gotten pretty white-hot 4 wins over the last week and change for Bobby B. David Jacobson, however, who's got horses in 4 races here tomorrow, is your leading trainer.
Yeah, David Jacobson having a tremendous winter. Again, just very consistent. Linda Rice, and we talk about him every day, the white-hot Gary Golo.
And we'll hear more from David Jacobson's heir of distinction, who's a major player in tomorrow's featured 4th race, The Correction. Rapoli Stables got over-prepared, cutting back to a sprint in Sunday's featured race, Sunday's featured race, the Cicada, 12 wins and counting. Claims on the afternoon. Let's check it out. A fast inner track. Yesterday was kind of quiet. Today there was a bit more action. We lost 4 out of race number 2, and there's 2 pages, in fact, coming.
Yeah, a lot of claims. Good to look. He looked good winning. Bruce Brown reached in for him, and Billy the Bull, he's popular, goes to Vinny Scuderi and Chip Dutrow.
And one out of the last race, Midnight Impositano, who had been going back and forth between Bruce Levine and Oscar Barrera, has got a new trainer, at least regarding her resume. Renee Arrea dropping $10,000 for her out of race number 9, won by the even money favorite, Discreet Force. But it's all about race number 4, The Correction. We've got the 2-minute warning going on this show. We're back with the final segment in just a second. It's the Mecca, New York City's racetrack, 200-plus acres in South Ozone Park, Queens. Welcome back to this Saturday or Friday edition of Aqueduct Insider. We're about to preview the Saturday stake, race number 4, The Correction. But before that, we will get into that with a look at Riley Mott, who's running the shed row here at Belmont for his dad, Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott.
Riley, you're going to Dubai with Lee. This is your first time going with the horse. You've been there before. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. It's going to be a great experience, and hopefully we can run well and make the trip well worth it.
When did you decide you wanted to follow in your father's footsteps and take up the crazy business of training horses?
A long time ago, from a very young age. You know, obviously grew up in the barn and working the summers in Saratoga, and just got in my blood early, and I got the knack for it, and it's just, you know, taken off from there.
Well, things seem to be going really well. You assisting your dad here this winter, and one of the horses that's been running really well is Isabel. She's in the stake tomorrow. How's she doing?
She's doing fantastic. She's really wintered well up here. She obviously has run 2 really nice races, and we think if she can duplicate those performances, she'll be in with a shot tomorrow.
Well, good luck tomorrow, and good luck over in Dubai.
Thank you.
23 years old, doing quite well for himself. 7 wins for the Mott Shed Row throughout this inter-track season. And Riley Mott, likable young man, and I guess you could say winning stakes runs in the DNA.
Well, yeah, I mean, his dad needs no introduction. The youngest trainer ever inducted in the Hall of Fame, supplanting Alan Jerkins, who is an absolute legend. But I like it. I think he's paid his dues. He's worked hard in the summer times for his father. And you know his father, the way he approaches things, he's not going to allow him to take any shortcuts. He's going to have to earn everything he's doing, and obviously he's excelling.
Cut from the same cloth. Good to have Riley around, and we'll see if he can get a 2nd consecutive stakes win tomorrow afternoon with Isabel, the New York bred, who overcame a speed-laden inter-track in her last start, winning the Broadway back on Valentine's Day, February 14th. 2nd flight, yellow cap, tipping out 4 wide. Any way you slice it, Mig, this was just a big win.
Yeah, big effort by her. Really terrific ride by Junior Alvarado here. Saved as much ground as he could before he tipped out, and she came running. She's certainly in really good form. Obviously like seeing her track. She's 2 for 2, and it doesn't seem to matter if there's some moisture in the track or if she catches a fast track. And tomorrow, very likely, she could catch a wet surface.
She is flying the New York bred flag. Best of luck to her as we go to a rematch, and you've got a whole bunch of horses dropping out of the Interborough on January 17th, a race won by Willett. She is not coming back to play, but you do have Air of Distinction, Expression, and the speedy Bridgehampton.
Yeah, Bridgehampton's one-dimensional, even with the outside post. I think she'll wind up being your leader. Air of Distinction adds blinkers, and she possesses speed. So does she get engaged early, or does she settle off of Bridgehampton a little bit? And if it comes up wet, I think it helps Expression the most.
She's got talent, but she doesn't run all that often. I think that's the main dilemma in a deep field like this with Mom Duha, who has not started in close to a year. In fact, a day shy of a year. Here she is winning last year's Cicada.
Well, another filly, obviously accomplished on the inner track, 2 for 2. She's been training forwardly down in Florida with Kieran McLaughlin. She ships up here to Artie Magnuson, and even though she's coming off of a layup, she's really never done anything wrong, and she's going to get pace to run at. I think she'll be fit It'll just be interesting to see if she comes back in the same form, because sometimes when these horses have the layoffs, it says they've had problems and they lose a step. She's going to have to show she didn't lose a step.
Now, getting back to Expression for just a second, who's coming out of that good third at a big price behind Lady Sibelia at over 65 to 1 in the Barbara Fritchie. In your days riding, when you were getting aboard for a trainer just on a major white hot streak, was that always just kind of a vote of confidence in the back of your mind?
Oh, absolutely. Just the same way a trainer wants the hot jockey or a jockey wants to ride for the hot trainer. And when a guy's putting horses on the track and the barn's going good, it seems like they all run well. Even if they don't win, you know you're on a live horse going in.
Not to be missed, a major part in both the pick 5 and early pick 4 here tomorrow. It is race number 4, the $100,000 correction, and the tide might be turning. Maybe John Kimmel's set to go on a run. He had that nice maiden win today with Damage Control, and here's Maggie to fill us in on which Kimmel horse to look at tomorrow.
The Saturday card, it's a 10-race card and some good ones at that. Race number 2 especially is the one I'm going to head to. And there's some first-time starters, but it's a second-time starter who has my attention, and that is number 4, Yes for Success from the John Kimmel barn. She made her debut back in December in a 11-horse field, and she had to break from the rail, which is always so tough for a first-time starter. They're in there the longest. They have the entire kind of pressure from the rest of the field to the outside. She broke slowly, rushed all the way up to grab the lead, and just faded in the final stages of that race to be only beaten 6 3/4 lengths. So I want to give her another shot. She's in a smaller field this time. She's drawn well in the middle of the field. Yes, she has some talented, well-bred, and well-connected first-time starters to her inside, but you can't take away experience, and that's what Yes for Success has, as she is my paddock insider for today. Guys, back to you.
We say Yes for Success, race number 2, and Maggie talked about the seasoning edge. It's pretty much big, a race dominated by first-time starters, and you would think, just with that educational experience under her belt, she's set to move forward.
Well, especially how much pressure she was under last time. From the rail, didn't break particularly fast, but had to be used to hold position and never got a breather. You know she's had enough time to recover from that effort, but with that foundation physically and mentally, she should be pretty tough.
We've got the Big Ten tomorrow, 1:20 p.m. post, 7:30 p.m. for this show tomorrow night on MSG Plus. The Mig and I, and we hope all of you will be tuning in. If you've got to set the DVR, do that. Little American Pharaoh returning at Oaklawn Park. Very excited to see him in his 3-year debut.
Yeah, some nice horses coming back at Oaklawn tomorrow, and a lot of great racing here at the Big A.
Well, we fly the Naira flag as we say good night from all of us here at the Big A.